Hello, everybody. This is Avocado from Avocado Meat TV. I'm here with Zack at Lubbock Finale 2024. Zack, what brings you here to this event specifically, and why do you play fighting games?
It's a long story, basically.
You can grab the mic if you want.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I met Brett in like February of 2023 when he asked me for advice on something that he was thinking of doing. And that happened to be the very first tournament that we ran together. I've basically been like his sort of sidekick, basically. I'm a flex role. I'm an organizer here at Lubbock Finale, and my job is basically to make sure that things are running smooth. So I just got done running Tekken. I've been taking pictures. I've been running some minor tech support. Just making sure that players are happy and the games are smooth and they're running well like they're supposed to.
I guess you could say you're like how you say it, the man behind the curtain. You're pulling all the strings.
I would hesitate to say that because Brett is kind of the reason that we're all here in the first place. I would say he is the man in front and behind the curtain. I'm basically Alfred, in a sense.
Oh, damn.
I'm the guy who makes sure that things are achievable, but I think Brett, what he's better at than me is having the drive to really make things a reality, and I'm here to like help him and help the community along the way as well.
For those that don't know, Zach and I actually spoke through Discord, but since everything is through usernames and profile pictures, we didn't really know, but we just found out that Zach right here is a huge Virtua Fighter fan, and me as well. Virtua Fighter is the reason why I bought my first fight stick a couple years ago when the remake came out. What does that game mean to you, and what do you hope for the game in the future besides more hopium?
So, Virtua Fighter is my community. This is something I love these people. Don't get me wrong. But Virtua Fighter is like a step above because it's the game I played the most. I probably have like hundreds and hundreds of hours in it over the past 3 or 4 years. It was the first fighting game I ever took seriously. When Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle, please go play it on Fightcade. Please go play this game on Fightcade. Virtua Fighter 3 was like the reason I started really getting into fighting games. And it is those people that taught me how to run a tournament, how to communicate with players, how to do anything fighting game related. It's just a wonderful community, and I want to carry over what I got from there to this community.
I also have met several people online. Chan is one of them. iFixMachine is one of them.
Oh man, Haya.
Yeah, Haya's great. D all the way G on YouTube, a great content creator.
You've spoken to C Money?
I have.
You've spoken to C Money?
I have.
Oh my god, he's hilarious.
He's hilarious. Yeah, Rantality. Shout out to C Money. Shout out to Haya. The VF community in general. Avocado. We've had a long day.
Yeah.
So Avocado from Avocado Meat TV, resuming interview with
Zack. I'm with Lubbock Finale and FGL Events. I'm a organizer for the tournament here.
when we were talking about earlier, we were talking about community. We're talking about how VF is your community, and what you've learned from there. You're trying to input it here. What are some examples that you've learned that you think will transition to this scene over here?
I think my biggest influence as a TO is a man named Harpooneer who ran a large chunk of the tournaments in New York, basically. So he did like a lot of the East Coast stuff too. And he'd been TOing for, I don't know, like 10 years, and he was a very solid VF player on top of that. So he's one of my mentors in VF, but he's also one of my mentors in running events. He taught me how to seed brackets. He taught me how to make sure players are happy. He's always a guiding point when it comes to any kind of like suspicious thing or like point of contention when it comes to organizing an event. I can usually trust his guidance very well, and I'm very thankful that he's able to be reached and just give solid advice.
Awesome. Yeah, you never really hear about the behind the scenes of events such as like even like fighting game tournaments and such because it's you.
I learned a lot about the biggie events and stuff and how those are run. It is a little hectic, but
Yeah.
that's just the reality of organizing a tournament. Like we're lucky because our venue is so cheap, but other people are not so lucky.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about like finances and breaking even and such like that.
We're able to actually turn a profit, actually.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I believe you guys bought your first in-house console for these events actually because of the signups.
I believe Brett. Okay, so there's actually a long story about that.
I'd love to hear it.
So, he brought this idea up to me in, I don't know, like July, August, and I said, okay, so how about we throw some Xboxes into the mix? Because I'm an Xbox fan,
Okay.
which is very weird these days, but I thought that the Series S's were a great value proposition, and they're tiny, they're portable and stuff.
Yes.
But when you just do the numbers, the PS5 just makes more sense. You don't have to buy adapters to supply to people. Everyone's used to the platform already, and now it's really bad. The PS5 versions of games are usually solid. Street Fighter 6 has a terrible Series S port, and that was honestly the deal breaker for me. It took a bit of convincing to get there. Brett has the right idea here. It's just we're not making a ton of money, so securing these consoles is going to be a slow process, but it's one step further that we are taking to make sure that players have a consistent competitive experience here.
He did mention that he wants I guess he says the big three popular games, which I believe were Street Fighter, Tekken, and Strive, and I believe he said he has like all DLC and stuff. So it's an investment, definitely for sure.
Yeah, I spent $40 like the previous night just to buy the remaining DLC that I didn't have, and I bought Strive with all the DLC for like $80.
Damn.
Previous summer. So I'm like spending money out of my own pocket to get this done. It's a big investment of not only time but like money, especially as like really broke college students. That's what we're doing.
What would you say to someone has no experience in said technology, like fight sticks or fighting games in general? Because it is a new world. It's not like Call of Duty. It's not like League or like single player games. There's a commitment you have to make to get into this scene. What advice would you give someone who's new to this?
Bring a keyboard. If you want to like start with fighting games for really cheap, there's two ways to do it in my opinion that are like perfect. One, you buy one of those I think 8-Bit Do makes them.
8-Bit Do, yeah.
They make a Sega Saturn pad that's basically like almost one-to-one with the original thing. It just doesn't include micro switches for the bumpers, unfortunately. And that thing is like $20 for a wired pad. So you get that and an adapter, and you have a very solid fight pad. Or get a keyboard. Wasset, I recommend like the top three buttons. It's like UIO or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are two very easy ways to like test whether or not you want to invest in something like a fighting game or a fighting game peripheral at all, because you're going to find out, using my thumb, I want more precision with that. I'm going to get a hitbox, or I'm going to get a stick. A stick is a really big commitment, but I think it's honestly like one of the better solutions, just because it's so ergonomic still.
Yes.
Like I use like a wine glass grip, but I like rotate it a little bit so my arm is like this, and I've had basically zero problems with it. But I also play mostly VF, where it's just me like I'm not doing like 360 motions all the time, basically. Yeah. So it also depends on what kind of game you're playing too.
You did mention earlier how you're the guy that helps Enrit, and Enrit has his vision, but I believe everyone should have some type of input. What plans or what ideas do you think would help in this scene that you're contributing to?
I think the big thing that I want to start pushing for personally is making sure that our commitment is focused on the players. There's nothing more I'd want than to run VF, but our core market is the people who have been showing up since like day one, or they're really dedicated. They show up to our locals. So Our plans for the future involve making sure that those options, those locals, are more attractive to our core market, so we can grow the scene better. That's how we're like trying to help our community. We need to give people a space to like talk about this game and play long sets and compete and want to get better. That's what we should be doing.
You say you have hundreds and hundreds of hours of VF. Let's say an event does happen. How fast do you sign up, and how fast do you think you can like get other people to join you in that set
And for
event?
VF,
Like, let's say, yeah, VF does happen one day, whether it's
A
a
VF6?
weekly or a weekly VF5, or if a VF6 does happen, how serious are you going to take that game? Because we are in the competitive scene.
well, I would bring it for sure, but I wouldn't be sacrificing the games that people are already playing. That's the tough balance you got to make.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you're trying to get games that are outside the mainstream, because let's be honest, Fatal Fury, it's going to have this problem. I think King of Fighters and Fatal Fury is a very fun game. It's very, very simple, but it's like very fast, punchy.
Yes.
I really like the pace of the action of that game.
Yeah.
And I quite like how simple Okizeme can get in the corner and stuff. It feels like Street Fighter, but quite a bit faster, and I really enjoy it. But that's besides the point. I could say all these good things about this game, but the issue is getting people to play it. And who's going to play a game that someone brings and you just don't trust them? Like, you don't know them. They're not your friends. They're just like a random guy. That's kind of the position that I'm in right now, because I don't really play Street Fighter 6. I don't really play Strive. I don't really play Tekken. I don't like Tekken. It's just how it is. Oh, I like Tag, though. I like Tag 1. Tag 1 is great. But it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for games that aren't already the core 3. So you got to walk like a fine line here. It's not like it's Street Fighter 5 where like 4 people show up and like, oh, well, you just replace it with Street Fighter 6. People are definitely going to show up. No. Fatal Fury is like a whole nother beast. Like, people, if you want that to be like a thing, you gotta have people who are already in the scene, other than you, that's pushing for it as well. You gotta make sure that there's consistent ways to play the game with other people, and you gotta make sure that people online can like reach out to others in their area and practice with them outside of a tournament. Because what's a club if it only meets once a month?
Yeah, that's a good point. In regards to the future of this scene and possibly next year's major event, which has yet to be announced, but pretty soon, how far are you willing to go? Like, I guess I don't want to say career-wise, but for the lack of a better term, career-wise, organizing these events. Would you ever consider running your own event at some point?
Me opposed to Brett? No. Oh God, no. I don't like. I say that Brett has a lot of drive and passion, in part because I feel like those are some things that I'm not quite good at executing and putting my money where my mouth is. I view Brett as a business partner first and foremost. We argue all the time, but we ultimately end up on the same page, and he's a great guy to work with. I couldn't really view myself running something opposite to him. The only thing I would do that is my own thing would be in complement. So if I ran like my own series of locals, but it also somehow fed into the main tournaments somehow.
Yeah, like coinciding with the
yeah,
Lubbock
it's
scene,
like
I'd say.
if I like started a tech FGC club, although I'm in my last year here, so I don't know how possible that is. But just something like that to like make sure that that we can actually start adding more people to that core market, that core community, and make sure that those people are always getting new people to play their new game or the game that they're already playing. Everything would be in service to that mission, because that's what's most important. Getting people to play and getting people to have fun and getting people to compete.
You'd mentioned new players. Now, it's very hard to get new players involved in any game,
Absolutely.
period, because of the skill gap, the life of the game. There's a million games I've touched that I think I'd be interested in, but because of that skill gap and because of how deep into the life the games are, it definitely has that effect of pushing people away. What would you say to someone who's obviously probably scared to like jump into this genre because it took me a good while of convincing before I decided to do anything like competitive wise in that sense because of the new factor of it.
Find someone you trust to play long sets with. I don't mean like 30 minutes. I mean like 3 hours. That's how I learned Virtua Fighter. That's how I learned anything. That's how I learned Third Strike. I was playing like dudes for 4 hours straight, basically. Like, just like a single guy. You learn so much by playing another person because you're learning how they're trying to apply the mechanics and the fundamentals of the game. And not only that, you need to be able to talk with them. Please, ranked is a scam, in my opinion. I despise ranked. This is a much better way to prove your skill.
Yes, I agree.
We are offering something that online cannot, and that is competition that you can personally talk to and get feedback from.
Absolutely. What would you say to anyone else out there who maybe has an interest in organizing or contributing to an event in somehow? Because you mentioned people you trust, and I agree with that. You do gotta trust some people to help lead you, I guess, guide you a little bit, to introduce you to new things. What would you say about people who want to do that? Because I've contributed to these events. I've done pot bonuses and such. I've never ran bracket, nothing like that. That seems very stressful.
It can be.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who maybe wants to contribute more and say if they don't want to compete in that sense?
It's really tough because I got into it just kind of as a whirlwind thing, but I couldn't stop. It was a valuable, or not valuable, I'm sorry. It was a very rewarding experience for me running stuff like this. But in terms of if someone was going to start their own tournament, that's like a tough sell. You want to get people that, you want to get like a few people. You want to start like really small. Honestly, we were lucky that we spent the money to get this place, and we hadn't really run online events, period, and people were still showing up. We had like a kind of established scene, but if your town doesn't really have much, I would say try at least to get 2 or 3 other people who also play the game you play, and just like host things consistently. People will notice, and if it doesn't grow really big, you're going to have a crew at least, and a crew can go other places, and those are going to be memories that you're going to carry with you forever. It's not real. TOing is not about making money. Don't go into this expecting to make money. We're lucky. Yes. We're lucky that we can make any money. But what it is about is providing not only a good service, but also just making other people have a good, or like, how do I
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
It's, you got to provide opportunities to let people make their own fun.
Yes.
That's what this is partially about. Mm-hmm. You make a good, people have fun by competing or simply just playing. Things are different than they were back in 2009. People are definitely more serious, so it would probably be leaning more towards the competitive aspect, but people want to be better than others. Like, people want to have fun that way, and we should be encouraging that. We should be encouraging each other to get better, and even if we're losing, just the process of getting better and learning with others that you can talk to all the time, that should be like an activity that we promote.
If there's one thing, I guess, to leave to end this interview on, who's the harder character, Shundi or Vanessa?
Oh my God, that is tough. I think Vanessa personally. Shundi actually has tools. Vanessa, like, talk about Shark Vanessa over in Japan. She's, oh my God, he's the best Vanessa ever. And then he just goes on stream and just gets totally blasted. Like, Vanessa, I would say, is just a harder character to play. She's basically 2 characters in one. Yeah. But you could still play her very fundamental like anyone else. You're probably going to be relying on defensive stance, though, in that case. Shundi, on the other hand, he looks intimidating on the surface, and a lot of his gameplay is really based around getting momentum with like those drinks. Mm-hmm. Like running
show-offs.
away and like doing 2KK and just like drinking over and over again, that's a valid strategy.
Yeah.
Vanessa, you're going to have to work a little harder in order to get into situations where you can really use her to her fullest, because, you know, she's got all these weird catch throws, and she's got like these strikes that are kind of like Jackie's, but they're not really, and they're not as good.
Buck Jackie, by the way.
Oh my God.
Nerf flash kick
I love Jackie,
God.
but I don't play Jackie. I play Brad.
pisses me off.
I play Brad.
I play Vanessa.
Oh my God.
But it's
It's a hard road.
it is a very hard road, especially for your first VF5 character.
Join the VF Discord. He's in it too, I believe. Discord.gg/virtuafighter. And if you want to support the Lubbock scene, actually, let me get the Discord link for that. The name of the community is West Texas Fighting Game Community. It is a community server, so you can look it up through Discord's like search feature, and you will find it. If you're like in the West Texas area, say Lubbock, Amarillo, Odessa, Midlands, or if you're like in eastern New Mexico, this is going to be your home, and we're trying to make it your home as well for all your like competitive needs and meeting up with players in your area.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other things you'd like to plug? Like maybe you have like a Twitch or a social or a YouTube channel, anything like that, or where people can find you.
I don't have any of those things. Well, I do, but it's like a kind of a secret.
It's like a personal thing. That's okay.
No,
I've got my.
I operate. I have a Twitter, but it's like under a different handle, and I don't tell people what it is, even though I have, because I've joked about it before. But people
okay.
still haven't noticed.
Oh,
and
that's
I'd like
okay.
people to finally put their 3 brain cells together and realize that it's me the whole time.
But thank you so much.
Yeah.
We still gotta finish this. Yes.
One more thing. We're going to make a big announcement tonight about the future of our scene. Make sure you join our Discord so you can learn more about it. That's all.
Thank you so much, and we have an event to finish, so we'll go back to that.